Imagine waking up one day to discover your entire identity was a lie. That the history you were taught, the traditions you followed, even the name you carried, none of it was truly yours. This is not the plot of a sci-fi movie. It's the reality for millions who may belong to the lost tribes of Israel, scattered across the globe for centuries. Their story is one of exile, survival, and an unbreakable connection to a promise made thousands of years ago. And today, that story might include you. 1. The Vanishing Tribes. In 722 BCE, the Assyrian Empire conquered the northern kingdom of Israel. 10 tribes were taken into exile: Reuben, Simeon, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Ephraim, and Manasseh. They vanished from history. Or did they? Most people assume these tribes were simply absorbed into other cultures, lost forever. But what if they weren't? What if their descendants are still out there, carrying fragments of their identity without even realizing it? The Assyrians did not just conquer, they erased. Historical records show they systematically broke up tribal units, scattering families across their empire to prevent rebellion. But here's what most historians miss. Exile does not destroy identity. It forces it underground. For generations, these tribes likely practiced their traditions in secret, adapting to survive while clinging to fragments of their heritage. Think about the Passover story: oppression, then liberation. The lost tribe's survival mirrors that same arc. And just like in Egypt, the evidence of their endurance is hidden in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered. Consider the Bukharan Jews of Central Asia. For centuries, they maintained Sabbath observance and kosher-like dietary laws, despite no contact with mainstream Judaism. Their oral history claimed descent from the tribes exiled by Assyria, a story dismissed as legend until genetic studies revealed startling connections. This pattern repeats worldwide. Communities preserving inexplicable traditions, passing down whispers of a forgotten origin. The tribes did not vanish. They went dormant. 2. The clues hidden in plain sight. You've probably heard of the Jewish diaspora, but the lost tribes' dispersal is different. They did not just migrate. They were forcibly relocated, their identities systematically erased. Yet traces remain. Look at the Pashtun of Afghanistan, the Igbo of Nigeria, or even certain Native American tribes. Their customs, avoiding certain foods, observing lunar cycles, rituals eerily similar to ancient Hebrew practices, hint at something deeper. Coincidence? Or something more? Take the Pashtun Torah-e-Azazullah, a sacred text with striking parallels to the Hebrew Bible. Their tribal code, Pashtunwali, mirrors Jewish law, hospitality like Abraham, blood feud justice like an eye for an eye. Even a tradition of circumcision on the 8th day. Coincidence? Or cultural memory? The Igbo of Nigeria tell of migrating from the east across a great river. Their new Yam festival aligns with Sukkot. Their Nsowala, taboo, system mirrors Kashrut. These are not random similarities, they're fingerprints. Linguistics adds another layer. The Karen people of Myanmar use words like Iwa for God, echoing Yahweh. Their flood myth mirrors Noah's. When British missionaries arrived in the 1800s, they were stunned to find tribes anticipating a white brother who'd bring back their lost scriptures. These threads form a tapestry too intricate to dismiss. The real question is not whether these connections exist, it's why they've been ignored for so long. 3. The first breakthrough. Here's where hope enters the story. Genetic testing has changed everything. In 2019, a study found that the Lemba people of southern Africa carried a DNA marker unique to Jewish priestly lines. They'd preserved oral traditions of being descendants of Abraham for centuries, and science confirmed it. This is not just about history, it's about identity. Imagine discovering you're part of a lineage thought extinct for millennia. That's power. The Lemba's DNA breakthrough was just the beginning. In 2020, a study of the Beni Menashe found genetic markers linking them to ancient Middle Eastern populations. But science is not the only proof. Listen to their songs, melodies passed down for generations, eerily similar to Jewish liturgical music. Examine their pottery designs, matching motifs from pre-exile Israel. These are not just data points, they're lived experiences. For descendants, validation is explosive. Imagine a Lemba elder holding a DNA report that confirms what his grandfather whispered, "We are Jews." Or a Beni Menashe teenager finally understanding why she felt drawn to Jerusalem. This is not academic, it's visceral. Every test result, every reclaimed tradition, is a crack in the wall of historical denial. And with each crack, more light gets in. 4. The cover-up. Not everyone wants this truth uncovered. For centuries, empires and religious institutions had reasons to suppress these connections. Colonial powers rewrote histories. Missionaries erased traditions. Even today, political agendas dismiss the idea of the lost tribe's survival. Why? Because reclaiming this identity shifts power. It challenges who owns the narrative of the Middle East, of faith, of cultural legacy. The suppression was not accidental. Colonial powers feared united indigenous identities. In Africa, missionaries labeled Hebrew-sounding traditions as pagan to erase them. In India, the British dismissed the Bni Monash claims as fantasy. Even today, political agendas distort the narrative. Some governments block DNA studies. Certain religious groups deny the tribe's existence outright. Why? Because acknowledging them disrupts territorial claims, challenges theological authority, and forces uncomfortable questions about stolen heritage. But the truth is fighting back. In 2022, the Israeli government formally recognized the Bnei Menashe as descendants of Manasseh. It's a watershed moment, official validation that the tribe survived. Yet the backlash was immediate. Critics called it political, dismissing centuries of oral history. This is not just about history books. It's about power. And power never surrenders without a fight. 5. You might be one of them. Think about your family's quirks. That strange holiday ritual. The way your grandmother insisted on certain prayers or avoided specific foods. Have you ever wondered where those came from? Millions carry these echoes without context. The good news? You do not need to wonder anymore. From DNA tests to linguistic analysis, tools exist now to trace these connections. And the results are shocking people worldwide. Your family's quirks might be clues. That inexplicable aversion to pork. The way your grandparents buried their dead facing east. The odd holiday where no fire was lit, a shadow of the Sabbath. These are not random. They're cultural fossils, preserved across generations. The Karen people's white cloth rituals mirrored tzitzit. The Igbo's chi concept mirrors the Jewish soul. These parallels are too precise to ignore. Start investigating. Ask elders about forbidden traditions, the ones practiced in secret. Look for family heirlooms with strange symbols. Compare your customs to ancient Israelite practices. You might discover your quirks are actually inherited code, waiting to be deciphered. And with tools like MyHeritage DNA databases or targeted ancestry tests, the puzzle pieces are now within reach. 6. The reunion happening now. This is not ancient history. It's unfolding today. In Uganda, the Abayudea community returned to Judaism after recognizing their practices match Torah commandments. In India, the Bnei Menashe are immigrating to Israel after proving tribal links. These are not isolated cases. They're part of a movement, people reclaiming identities stolen from them centuries ago. And this is just the beginning. The Abayudea's story is a blueprint. In the 1920s, Ugandan leader Same Kakungilu read the Torah and realized his people's customs matched its laws. Despite persecution, their synagogues burned, their leaders jailed, they held fast. Today, they're a thriving Jewish community. Their journey proves reconnection is not theoretical. It's happening now, in real time, from Uganda to India to Appalachia. In Manipur, India, the Bnei Menashe return is even more dramatic. After genetic and halakhic confirmation, thousands have made Aliyah. Their children now serve in the IDF. Their grandparents' prayers, next year in Jerusalem, are no longer dreams. Their addresses. This is not nostalgia. It's resurrection. 7. Why this matters more than ever. Identity is the ultimate battleground. Knowing where you come from shapes where you're going. For the lost tribes, this is not just about the past. It's about justice, land rights, cultural restoration, spiritual belonging. Oppressors tried to erase them, but they survived. Now, they're stepping back into their story. And if you're connected to them, that means you're part of something bigger than yourself. Land is not just dirt, it's memory. For the lost tribes, reclaiming identity means reclaiming place. The Bnei Menashe return to Israel challenges geopolitical narratives. The Igbo's potential link to Gad raises questions about West African land rights. These are not abstract debates. They're about justice for crimes committed centuries ago, but it's also personal. Imagine learning your ancestors were stripped of their names, their land, their God, and then discovering you can reclaim all three. That's revolutionary. It's not just about who you were. It's about who you're allowed to be now. 8. The biggest myth debunked. Let's tackle the elephant in the room. If these tribes were real, we'd know by now. Wrong. History is written by winners, and the winners here had every reason to bury the truth. But DNA does not lie. Oral traditions do not lie. The sheer volume of parallel customs across continents cannot be ignored. The myth is not that the tribes survived. It's that they ever disappeared at all. Though they'd have been found by now, argument collapses under scrutiny. Until recently, DNA testing did not exist. Oral histories were dismissed as myth. And let's be honest, who was looking? Mainstream Judaism focused on the surviving tribes. Academics labeled non-white Jewish connections as syncretism. The tools to find the tribes did not exist, and the will to look was scarcer. Now, the dam is breaking. Peer-reviewed studies confirm genetic links. Anthropologists document ritual parallels. The tribes are not lost anymore. They're emerging. And each new discovery shatters the old narrative a little more. 9. How to know for sure. You're probably thinking, okay, but how do I find out? Start with your family's oddest traditions. Research genetic testing options like 23andMe's ancestry reports. Reach out to communities like the B'nai Menashe or Limba. They've walked this path already. This is not just ancestry. Calm stuff. This is about rewriting your understanding of who you are. DNA tests are just step 1. Upload your results to platforms like GEDmatch to compare with Jewish and Middle Eastern populations. Look for haplogroups like J1C3D. But genes are not everything. Document your family's oral history. Record elders singing forgotten lullabies. Melodies might match ancient Jewish tunes. Examine heirlooms for hidden Hebrew letters or Star of David motifs. Reach out to communities like the B'nai Menashe. Their rabbis have helped hundreds verify tribal links. This is not a solo journey. It's a homecoming. 10. The future of the lost tribes. We're on the brink of a reckoning. As more people awaken to their heritage, governments will have to respond. Cultural institutions will have to adapt. And for those reclaiming their identity, it's a homecoming 2,700 years in the making. This is not just history, it's prophecy in motion. And you might be part of it. So here's my question for you. What if your life is not what you thought it was? What if the things that never quite fit suddenly made sense? The lost tribes are not lost anymore. They're finding each other. And if this resonates with you, do not just watch, act. Share your story below. Get tested. Join the conversation. This is not just about the past. It's about who you're meant to be.